at some point during the yoga practice. In fact, let's just set them up right next to us on our
Okay.
sides.
Libby, a question about yours. I have
Yeah.
two different ones.
Mm-hmm.
One of them looks thin like yours, and the other one is chunky like at the gym. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Honestly, my preference is the more substantial, chunkier ones if you're going to use them to balance,
Uh-huh.
because they're not going to move around on you.
Right.
The thin ones like these are nice if you are going to slip it underneath your seat, which sometimes I do, because this will have a little bit more, not quite cushion, but a little bit more give than the thick, chunky ones.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Um,
bought this and someone gave me this, so that's why.
but if they're both the same height and you're using both of them at the same time, like the width won't matter as long as they're both the same height.
Right, but they are the same height, but they're not.
Yeah, so you can use one to sit on and then one to use when you're balancing.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome. So I'll leave us off mute until after we center. And so let's just take a moment here, bringing your palms towards each other, inviting your eyes to close. And just beginning here to draw your breath in. And release your breath from your body. And noticing this morning the quality of your breath. Notice if there's anywhere in your body resisting your inhale, or resisting your exhale. And let's begin here, if you haven't yet, to consciously lengthen your inhale. Try to fill your lungs fully. And let's try to consciously slow your exhale. You might even begin to find that slight constriction of the throat that gives the breath a little sound, that ujjayi exhale. And as we sit here firmly in the month of Thanksgiving, let's connect here with a gratitude or three. Letting your entire mind focus on one or several gratitudes. As if you were just discovering these things for the first time, that joy of newness combining with that joy of feeling grateful. I'll invite you to use the intention today of staying deeply connected with this sense of gratitude as we move through our practice. And we'll begin here to join our voices in the sound of Om, or to listen if that's your preference. Let your next inhale prepare you. Om. Nice big inhale here. And as you exhale, release your chin downwards. Begin to flutter your eyelids open. And just begin to rotate your chin, coming into these very slow, gentle circles into your neck. Noticing if there's any areas of your neck that might be holding stress, holding tension. And if there are, you might even pause your rotation, breathing into this spaces. And the next time you find your chin drawing inwards, let's pause here. And we'll reverse your circles, moving now in the opposite direction. It's also bringing some awareness here to your jaw, noticing if it's gripping. And the next time your head is drawing towards center, pause here and lift your gaze, centering your ears over your shoulders, drawing once more both hands to your heart. Let's interlace your 10 fingers here and press your palms directly forward. And here, as we press our palms forward, let's snuggle your shoulders inward. So straight arms, just snuggling those shoulder blades more firmly onto your back body. And using an inhale, extend your fingers up. And take it a few breaths here. Inhaling, exhaling. Good. Next exhale, let's release the hands. Take a turn to the right. Your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind your body. Good. Keep that right hand behind your body plugging down. Begin to bend into the left elbow. Send your heart forward. Inhale, straighten here. So we're going to exhale, bending into the left elbow. Inhale to straighten, just adding a little movement to this seated twist. And next, inhale, coming back to center. Keep your straight spine as you exhale. We'll inhale here, bring all 10 fingers up, this time palms shine towards each other. Find that conscious softening inwards of your shoulders away from your ears. Feel that lift of the low ribs upwards, that space between the abdomen and the hips. Breathe inwards there, nice big inhale. Exhale, rotating the opposite direction. Left hand behind the body, gaze over your left shoulder. You might stay in stillness here, or you might begin to take that little softening downwards as you exhale, lifting up as you inhale. Introducing a little dynamic movement here to work with the energy in the body, to allow that vibration of gratitude to move fully into all the spaces. And the next inhale, let's keep your spine long. Keep your gaze over that back shoulder. Inhaling here, back towards center. Extend all 10 fingers up. Use your exhale, invite your hands through heart center. And then settle both hands on your shoulder blades, fingers drawing inwards. Good, nice big inhale here, nice long spine. Exhale, turning to the right. Inhale towards center. Exhale, turning to the left. And so we'll take a little bit of a faster breath here. Going as fast or as slow as makes sense for your body. Good. The next time you find yourself going left, as you come towards center, release your hands downwards here. Draw your chin in. And as your chin draws in, lengthen into the back of your neck. Feel your neck aligning with your spine. Good. Let's interlace your fingers here. Bring your interlaced fingers beneath the chin. And then using your hands, press your chin upwards. Draw your elbows towards each other. Let's inhale, bring your chin back towards center. Open the elbows up. Exhale, bring the chin upwards, close your elbows. So moving a few times here into this breath pattern. And the next time you find your chin facing center, let's pause here. Good. Plant your left hand down. And this is one reason we set up our blocks ahead of time. So left hand down might be pressing into a block. Extend your right arm over to the left. Good. Maybe lift your gaze if that makes sense for your neck. Nice big inhale here. As you exhale, bend into your right elbow. Drop your gaze to your left hand. So we're going to inhale, lengthen into the right arm. Maybe lift the gaze up. Exhale, bending into your elbow, dropping your gaze down. And drop into your breath pattern here. Good. The next time you find yourself looking down towards that left hand, extend the right fingertips upwards. Maybe release the block out of the way. Maybe come down to your elbow as we take this longer held side stretch. You might stay gaze down. You might choose to look up or directly forward. Might even play with how it feels to join your lifted thumb and forefinger in that Gyan Mudra. Some nice breaths here. And on an inhale, let's lift upwards. Take a moment here at center. Cup both kneecaps with your hands. Close your eyes. Feel yourself pressing upwards through the crown of your head. Feel the rest of your muscles softening here, relaxing. And let your eyes open here, planting your opposite hand down, right hand down on your block. Left hand begins to arc over your head. Maybe the gaze lifts here. Nice big inhale. Exhale, bending into your left elbow, drop your gaze down. So taking a few of these dynamic movements here. Just feeling your body respond, feeling your breath move into these tight spaces as your fascia begins to warm and to open. Good. The next time you find that gaze down, let's extend your left fingertips to the right here. You're going to decide, is your gaze going to stay down, come forward, or lift? Maybe remove the block out of your way if that makes sense for you. Maybe bend into that lower elbow. Nice, deep, cleansing yogi breaths here. Good. And next inhale, lead with your top arm. Cup both kneecaps. Let your eyes close as we come back to this long spine at center. And connecting here with the integrity, the strength of your bones, and allowing your muscles the gift of softening here. Our bodies come into alignment. Our muscles are able to come into more ease. Good. And as your eyes open, let's scoot any blocks that might be on your mat, any other props that might be on your mat, just out of the way. Let's begin to find our way onto our bellies, coming into a Sphinx pose. And so as you come to your Sphinx, settle both elbows directly beneath your shoulders. If your low back is talking to you, you might separate your heels the width of your mat. Otherwise, feet are going to stay about hips width distance here. Good. And with your palms and forearms flat on the ground, parallel to each other, begin to pull the outer edges of your arms towards the back of your yoga mat. Begin to lift your chin slightly. Nice inhale here. As you exhale, draw your chin in, press into your elbows, round into your upper back. Inhale, pull your heart forward, lift your gaze, even isometrically drawing those hands back towards the hips. It means making a muscular action and intention to move your hands without moving them. And we're exhaling, rounding in. So it's very similar to our cat and cow. We're just doing it from our Sphinx pose. And so finding here whichever rhythm makes sense to you. Inhaling to lift your heart, lift your gaze. And exhaling to draw inwards. Good. The next time you find yourself lifting your gaze up, let your exhale bring your gaze directly forward. Walk your hands inwards, lower your heart here, and bring yourself up to a hands and knees position. And then as we come to our hands and our knees, keep your hips centered over your knees. Begin to walk your hands forward. Maybe grab onto one of those blocks and slip that block just underneath your face. And so gearing up here for our Anahata Asana, you're going to bring your gaze forward, lower your chin down to the waiting block. If that doesn't cause pain in your cervical spine, the back of your neck, if it does cause pain, maybe just lower your forehead down here. And if that block feels high, you always have the option to remove it out of the way, bring your chin or forehead down to the ground. And then an inhale, let's begin to press into your hands. Walk your hands back beneath your shoulders. Drop both elbows down to the ground and walk your hips backwards, returning to our shape of the Sphinx pose with this nice right angle from our shoulders down to our elbows. We'll begin here to bend and straighten into opposite knees. Good. Let's take a moment here. Next time you find one knee bent upwards, let's bend the other knee upwards so that both knees are bent. And then hook at the ankles, just crossing at the ankles. Begin here to rock your feet in and out. And always the option to go a little lower. If you're starting to feel a little pinchiness in the low back, just lower slightly. Maybe bringing the forearms down, lowering the head slightly. And we'll pause here and uncross, recross, bringing the opposite ankle in front, and then just coming back to this rocking motion. Good. And let's uncross your ankles here. Lengthen both legs long. If we've been lowered downwards, let's press upwards back onto the elbows. Curl your toes under, bring your knees upwards. So we're coming elbows down, knees centered beneath your hips. And then perhaps you'll interlace your hands here so that the outside edges of your forearms press into the ground. And let's curl your toes under here. If they're not already, begin to lift your hips upwards. Gaze comes back towards your toes. And let's exhale, lower your knees, lift your gaze up. So we're coming in and out of our dolphin pose. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. And the next time you exhale to lower both knees, let's pause. Unlace your fingers if they've been interlaced. Press both hands beneath your shoulders. And let's walk our right foot forward between your hands. And here's a nice place to grab onto your blocks if you're working with your blocks. So just taking some nice breaths here, just using the hold of this to kind of warm the fascia at your hip points. Just beginning to lengthen and awaken here. And so let's release the left hand down. You could place your hand on a block or on the ground. Sweep your right fingertips up. Let's exhale, right hand comes to your heart, gaze drops towards the earth. And so we're inhaling to open, exhaling to close. And as we move here in this lunge versus little twist, let's bring our minds to something for which we're grateful. Perhaps each time your hand comes to your heart, that can be an expression of your gratitude. And then the next time you find your hand coming to heart, gaze down, let's release your hands down. Catch onto your blocks if you're using them, or bring both hands to the ground. Let's curl your back toes under, lift your back knee away from the earth. Begin to walk your hands or hands and blocks inward, coming towards the center of your mat. Let your toes spin with you as we come here into our wide leg forward fold. Good, so start with a tall spine. Start with the spine parallel to the ground. That might mean getting higher on your blocks. Tack your sit bones backwards and extend the crown of your head forward. Good, lift up on both inner ankles. Press into the outer edges of both feet. Nice big inhale here. As you exhale, maybe your hands want to walk back beneath the shoulders. Here's where we'll invite the spine to round. Release the weight of your head downwards. And again, keep your hands as high as they need to be out using those blocks as we come into this longer hold of our Prasarita Padottanasana. Good, and on an inhale, if you've walked those fingertips pointing backwards, let's walk them forward, climbing back up onto your blocks if you weren't there already. And we'll continue our transition, moving now to frame the left foot. So let's rotate right and left toes to the side as you walk your hands or hands and blocks to frame that left foot, lowering your right knee down to the ground. And just taking a nice little hold here. Nice little hold. So always the option to bring that back knee slightly inwards if you feel that it's too strong of a stretch. A good way of easing off the stretch is shortening the space between your front heel and your back knee. Good, and here inviting the right hand either down to the ground or down to a flat block. Left hand can stretch upwards. Nice big inhale here. Exhale, drop your gaze, bring your hand to heart center. And moving here with your breath. Good. The next time you find yourself gazing downwards, let's release your hand here. Catch onto both of your blocks. If you're working with your blocks, curl your back toes under, lift your back knee upwards, and we'll walk once more, hands or hands and blocks towards center. Good. Find that pause. Find that firm foundation, pressing into the outer edges of both feet. Nice big inhale here. Exhale, hold this shape. Good, really press backwards through the tailbone here. Extend forward through the crown of your head. Connect with a line of energy, a line of stretch from your hip points to your armpits. So stretching here into the side body. Good, let's exhale. Begin to walk your hands towards your right foot. Bend into your right knee. Let your left leg lengthen, coming here into our Skandasana. Left toes could turn up, could stay down, connected to the mat. Good, let's lift the left hand upwards, stretching those fingertips towards the right. Maybe gaze is up, maybe gaze is down. And using an exhale, lower that lifted hand. Let's surf ourselves through center over towards the left leg, bending into your left knee, keeping that right leg long and straight. And then the right arm could lift here. And exhale, lower your lifted hand. Bring yourself back through center. And then back to use your hands to frame the right foot. So back where we started, we'll lower the left knee down to the ground. Let's bring the right knee back beneath the right hip. Release your blocks out to either side if you've been working with them. Bring your hands fully to the ground here. Come into a tabletop position. Let's lift the right foot up to hip height. Lift your gaze, looking forward. Exhale, lower your right knee, hover. Don't release the weight of it down. Inhale, extend the right leg long, lift your gaze. So we're exhale, we're going to drop the gaze directly down, hover that knee in. Inhale to lift. Good. The next time that right knee is lowering, let's pause a moment here. Release the weight of your right knee down. Rotate your 10 fingers backwards, stretching into the front of your wrists. Just taking some nice breaths here. Good, and here we'll rotate the fingers forward. Walk your hands back beneath your shoulders. Inhale, left leg rises to hip height, gaze comes forward. Exhale, find that little hovering of the left knee down. Move here with your breath. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Good, and the next time that left knee is curling inwards, let's release the weight of your left foot down. Good, and here we'll inhale, lift the right leg upwards, sweep the left fingertips forward. Good, exhale, open right to the right, left to the left. Inhale, coming back towards center. Exhale, opening to either side. And dropping into this rhythm. The next time both limbs are reaching forward and backwards, release the weight downwards here. Walk your inner knees and thighs towards each other until they join, and then tick-tock your hips from side to side. Bring your gaze looking out over opposite shoulders. And then here, coming back towards center, separate your knees, hips width distance. Use an inhale, lift the left heel upwards, right arm sweeps forward. Exhale, open either to their respective sides. Inhale back towards center. And so moving here, following your breath. Good. The next time both are reaching forwards and back, let's release the hands down here. I'm just taking a moment here. Option for that wrist stretch again, if that makes sense for you. And as we come forwards here, let's take a block, taking a balancing block, if we have one, underneath the right hand. And begin to walk that right knee slightly inward, shortening the space between your right hand and your right knee. Extend the left leg long. Bring your left hand to your hip. I don't have a balancing block, so you're going to see me shaking a bit more. My block is not great for balancing. But we're going to very slowly begin to bring our gaze forward. So my back heel is lifted. Back toes are down. Left hand might begin to reach upwards here. And I might even play with how it feels to lift that left foot up to hip height. Good, and if that left foot is lifted, let's release the left foot down. Bring your left hand back to your hip. Rotate your gaze down here, releasing your left hand down to the ground. And then bringing your block underneath the left hand. Maybe finding that little shortening of space between the left knee and the left hand on your block. Right leg is going to extend long, and then we'll bring our right hand to our hip. Good. So finding a balance here, even though we've got a knee down, we've got a block down, we're still working on changing our center of gravity. So find that steadiness, and then maybe the right hand wants to reach upwards. Maybe that right foot wants to come up to hip height. Good, and if the right foot is lifted, let's begin to lower the right toes down. Send the right hand back to your hip, rotate so your heart and eyes face down. Remove that block out of your way as you bring yourselves back towards center. Good, let's begin to curl the 10 toes under, lift your hips up and back. Coming into the nice long line of your spine in your downward dog. Let your head be heavy as your body comes into this shape. Let your side body be long. Really focus in that stretch from your hips to your armpits. And as you lift your gaze with your next inhale, let's begin to walk your hands towards the center of your mat. Walk your feet forward so you come to the center of your mat. Take a half rise here, Ardha Uttanasana, then exhale, soften inwards, release the weight of your head down. Use an inhale, invite both hands to your hips, roll your shoulders onto your spine, then rise up as you exhale. Good, rotating so that your toes come forward. You're going to be facing the long side of your yoga mat. Take your 2 blocks, set them up on either short side of your yoga mat. And then invite your hands to your hips. Separate your feet away from each other. Good, and just as when we came into that Prasarita Padottanasana, find that lifting up on the inner ankles, pressing through the outer edges of your feet. Let's rotate the right toes to point forward. Left toes are going to stay pointing towards that long edge of your yoga mat. Inhale, bring your right hand up to shoulder height. Exhale, let's lengthen over your long right leg, reaching forward and down, catching that block, or keeping your hand nice and high on the right leg, whichever we can do while keeping the heart shining towards that long line of your yoga mat. Let's snake the left hand behind the sacrum here. So taking the hand out of this shape. Maybe the gaze lifts Maybe it stays straight ahead. Maybe you drop your gaze here. Good. And if that hand, left hand is behind the back, let's play with how it feels to then extend upwards. And if that left hand is lifted, let's return your left hand to your hip. Drop your gaze down to your right toes. Isometrically press your heels and feet away from each other. Rise up here, then rotate all 10 toes to point forward. Good. Bring both hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders backwards. Rotate your left toes outwards to the left. Bring your left hand up to shoulder height. Rotate your palm upwards. Nice big inhale here. Extend up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, hinging over that long leg, lowering your hand here, catching for a block or the leg. Again, keeping the side body nice and long, heart and eyes shining forward here. Top shoulder stacked over bottom shoulder. And then here, playing with how it feels to bring the right hand behind the back, reaching for its opposite hip. Maybe the gaze lifts here. Take a little bit of a bound triangle. Maybe staying here, hand behind your back, or opening up into that Trikonasana. Good, and exhale, bring your lifted hand to your hip. Drop your gaze downwards. Isometrically press your feet away from each other, lifting your body upwards here. Bring both hands to your hips. Rotate your 10 toes to point forward. Let's heel toe the feet slightly closer, so keeping them wider than hips with distance. Let's rotate right toes outward. Left toes are also going to rotate slightly to the right so that our heart is now shining towards the short end of your yoga mat. Let's go ahead and reach forward, grab that block that's settled by the right foot. And if you do have a choice, here's where we really want your heavier blocks that are better for balancing. So go ahead and grab that one. You can use it on both sides. Let's inhale, extend your right hand with the block out to shoulder height. Keep your gaze focused on the block. Let's lift the left heel away from the ground. Lower your right hand downwards here. And as the right hand lowers down, lift your left heel upwards. Good. As your left heel leaves the earth, press through your heel. Draw your toes towards the ground. Really active sole of your left foot. So we might stay here, gaze down, or you might begin to rotate open. First toes, then knees, hips, heart. Gaze is the last to rotate here as we come into our Ardha Chandrasana, and then perhaps that left hand reaches upwards. If that left hand is lifted, let's lower it back to your hip. Let's rotate eyes, heart, belly button, knees, toes to point downwards. Release your back foot down. Release your back knee to the ground. Good. Stretch all 10 fingers upwards here, maybe joining the hands, all but the 4 fingers interlacing to form your steeple mudra. On an exhale, bring both hands to your heart. Frame your front foot, curl your back toes under, lift your back knee upwards, and step your back foot halfway in. Press the feet away from each other, rise up. Take your block with you if you're using it. Rotate to once more, face the long end of your yoga mat. Feet not quite as wide as we would go for our triangle, slightly wider than hips with distance apart. Let's rotate left toes forward, right toes rotating slightly to the left. Heart and eyes shining to the left. Bring your right hand to your hip. Extend your left hand with block out to shoulder height. Gaze here on that block. Nice inhale here. As you exhale, begin to lean forward, lift your back heel, lower your block down. And as you land with your block, pressing the weight of your hand into your block, lift your back foot up to hip height, activating by pressing through the sole. Maybe staying here, maybe finding that light spiral open. Knees, hips, heart last to rotate his gaze. Maybe the fingers stretch upwards towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, bring your hand back to your hip. Rotate eyes, heart, hips, toes back towards the earth. Lower your back foot down. And as your back foot lowers, lower that knee down to the earth. Sweep your fingers upwards here. Option for our steeple mudra. As we breathe into our nice open Anjaneyasana. And next exhale, bring both hands to heart center. Drop both hands down to frame that left foot. Invite the left foot back underneath the left hip. And let's bring ourselves onto our back body. So remove any blocks that might be on your mat. Come to lying on your back with your knees bent, pointing upwards. Hands down by your hips. Thighs and feet are hips width distance apart here. So we're going to press into your feet, lift your hips up, sweep your arms up and over your head, breathing here into our Dvipada Pitta. Use an exhale, soften your hips, soften your hands back downwards. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to lower. Good. The next time you find your seat lowering downwards, let's pause here. Taking a few deep breaths. Let's begin to angle your body towards the left. Slide your right hand beneath your bottom. And as you bring the weight back onto your right hand and arm, do the same with your left. So both hands are palms down. We're now seated on the back of our hands. And I'd like you to work your elbows towards each other underneath your body. Press into your elbows, lift your torso upwards. As your torso lifts, straighten your legs long. And again, walk those elbows as close as they can come beneath your body. Setting up here for our fish pose. So you're going to lift your chin. Weight is in the elbows. Chest is nice and puffed here. And then without laying any weight to the crown of your head, just let the crown of your head gently touch down onto a block or onto the ground. Again, weight here is on the elbows more than the head. Might feel good to take a yawn here to open your mouth. Good. Next, inhale. So again, press into the elbows. As your chin lifts, tuck your chin inwards. Lower your body back down to the ground. Bend back into your knees and then press into your feet. Lift your hips, free your hands here. Draw the inner edges of your feet towards each other. Join the soles of your feet. Open your knees away from each other. Reach your hands over your head, bending into your elbows. Grasp for opposite elbows. Resting here in our reclining butterfly. And as you exhale next, let's release your hands down by your side. Draw your knees towards each other. And as your knees comes inward, separate your feet hips with distance. Invite both knees into your chest. Cup your hands on the outer edges of your knees and make opposite concentric circles here. Rotating your knees as if you were rowing a rowboat. And the next time your hands and knees come inwards, pause here. And we'll reverse your circles, moving now in the opposite direction. Good, releasing here, both feet down to the ground. Bring your arms here out into the shape of a T. Press into your feet. Lift and shift your hips to the right. Lower your knees to the left. And then bring your gaze looking out over your right shoulder. Breathing here in this reclining twist. As you exhale next, bring yourself back towards center. Press here into your feet to lift and shift your hips. Now in the opposite direction. Bringing both knees to the right, hips to the left, gaze to the left. Softening here into this Chathara Parvriti, reclining twist. Use an inhale here, bring your body back towards center. And as you come towards center, hug both knees inwards, wrap your arms around your knees. Give yourself a little movement side to side, a little massage into your low back. And then let your body lengthen here. Let your hands soften down by your side. And if you have any low back discomfort, maybe you'll slip a block beneath each knee. Let the weight of your body be held here. Relaxing fully here into the earth. Let your breath even, not trying to lengthen or shorten it. Let yourself simply be here in this moment of stillness, taking in all the benefits of your practice this morning. And here, very gently begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. As you're ready, you begin to find little movements into your fingers and your toes, into your wrists, your ankles. And as you're ready, take a nice big full body stretch. And as your hands come down, bring your knees and wrap your hands around your knees. Give yourself some nice hug here, nice little squeeze, nice movement side to side. And very gently begin to work your way to lying down on one side. Coming as you're ready up to a seat by pressing into your top hand. And then if you would like some support beneath your seat, we're going to end our class with pranayama. So maybe grab a soft block to sit on, grab a blanket, a pillow. And this alternate nostril breath, this Nadi Shodhana, assumes that you're able to breathe easily through both nostrils. If you are stuffed up in one or the other nostril, just keep your hands down and away from your face and just imagine breathing in and out through opposite nostrils. However, if you are able to breathe easily, what we'll do is we'll take the right hand, going to extend the pointer and the middle fingers and rest those fingers just between the brows. And then you'll rest your right thumb very gently above that right nostril, and your ring finger will rest just above the left nostril. And so we're resting, not blocking the nostrils at this point. This is our resting point. And here you can invite the eyes to close. If your arm gets tired, you can always support that elbow with the left hand. And so let's take an even breath here, breathing in through both nostrils, breathing out through both nostrils. Good. Covering the left nostril. Let's inhale through the right. And exhale through the left. Inhale through your left nostril. Exhale through your right. Inhale right. Exhale left. And so keep this pattern. Each exhale is followed by an inhale in that same nostril. Anytime that you inhale, you're exhaling through the opposite nostril. Release a breath if you start to feel panicky or short of breath. Otherwise, we'll practice for a bit in silence. And the next time you exhale through your left nostril, let's release this breath. Inviting your hands down to your lap, keeping your eyes closed, your gaze inwards. And just observing here as your breath returns to its normal pattern. And let's join now, both hands to heart center. Drop your chin and gaze inwards. Let your eyes begin to open. And we'll end our practice today with the sound of Om. Om.